Hello and welcome to On the Bench, the fortnightly podcast for scale modelers by scale modelers. Available on iTunes, Stitcher, and all good podcast apps. While you're there, don't forget to mark us as your favourite so that you never miss a show. Hi, I'm Dave, and this is episode 46. With this year being the 50th anniversary of the moon landings, it's only fitting that we venture into space ourselves to have a look at real space models. And to help us with that, we've got Troy Henderson coming back in the studio, who is not only in the middle of building a Saturn V rocket, but has also built a number of other space-related models. A huge round of applause to Peter Andrus, Vigard Bergley, Jason Johnson, and Russell Lee, who each pledged $5 to our Patreon page. If you would like to join the ranks of these champions, then simply go to www.patreon.com/onthebench and pledge any amount from $1 upwards. Your ongoing contributions help us to offset the production and publishing costs of the podcast and are greatly appreciated by both myself and the team. Fine Scale Modeler is proud to be the official supporter of On the Bench. Fine Scale Modeler is one of the world's most recognised modelling magazines and can be found in all good newsagents or wherever you purchase your magazines. Alternatively, you can go directly to their website, www.finescale.com, and subscribe to get the magazine home delivered as well as access to their digital edition. And hello and welcome to the next instalment of On the Bench, and in the studio I've got Ian.
G'day Dave, g'day listeners.
And Julian.
Hello.
And special guest Troy.
G'day boys.
How we all been?
Fantastic.
What's been happening?
First of all, I put the request out last episode.
Yes, you did. You're after
And-
some North Star 1/350 scale figures.
Yes,
And you
Japanese
couldn't- and you-
pilots.
And you can't get them in Australia because North Star doesn't sell to Australia
Yep.
or Canada anymore.
Correct. And I was sick of waiting for B&A to get them in.
Yep.
Luckily, one of our listeners, a gentleman by the name of Chris Marsden.
G'day, Chris, and thanks very much.
Yes, I was getting to that. Got in contact with us, and he's managed to obtain me a set. So he's waiting for them to pop up to his place so he can post them down. So yeah,
Terrific.
big call out and a big thanks to Chris Marsden.
Yay, well done, Chris.
So on the modelling side, last weekend it was a bit cool. So
Yep.
on Sunday I managed to get a full day of painting. Managed to paint all the armaments for the Shikaku and made a start on about 250 odd figures.
Yep.
And damn, they're small at 1 to 350 scale. They are freaking tiny. So yes, I'm getting there. I've got my base should be coming in hopefully next week.
How big is the base going to be?
I think it's 730 or something long by 180 wide. The top of it weighs 5 kilo.
So it's a wooden base.
With a step down, so I can put a acrylic cover over it.
And
Keep
the
dust
base itself weighs 5 kilos.
Correct. Yep.
So the base will never fall over.
No, well the kit's going to be bolted to the base.
It's going to have to be.
So the kit will never move from the base, and the weight of the base will keep the kit in place when I have to move it.
Wow.
So
You're going to have fun moving that thing.
Yeah.
How long is it?
It's about the top of it's about 730, I think. I can't remember the exact measurements. I've got them written down at home, but yeah, it's quite long. It's and quite wide at 180 wide at the top, and that's mainly because with the aircraft taking off.
Yep.
All the aerial masts were on the 90 degree down position.
Yep.
So that adds an extra couple of inches to each side of the kit.
Mm.
So yeah.
Cool.
So hopefully, once the base is in, then I can mount it to the base, use the base as flip it upside down and use the weight of the base to make sure the flight deck's glued in really nice and solid. And then I can start painting grey because there's not much sub-assemblies left to do on the actual ship.
Oh, okay.
Still got, 33 aircraft to build?
Have you done the flight deck yet?
No.
Oh, okay. So
It's not glued in place.
But you still got to actually, you're doing the wooden...
I've
Yep.
got aftermarket
Yep.
wooden deck
Yep.
from Fujimi.
Yep.
And yeah, so glue that in place. Once all the grey's painted, I can put that in place and
then paint the line markings on it.
yes,
Yep,
definitely.
cool.
So yeah, but that'll be it for about another week because of the heat restraints.
Yeah, well, I think we're hitting about 36, 37 over the weekend.
Yep.
It's crazy. So 3 weeks ago, we had a 12-degree day in the middle of summer.
Mm-hmm.
I had the heater on one night last week.
Wow.
I know. What's with that?
Jeez, in February.
I know.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
Yep.
Julian, what have you been up to?
I have been working on my models, mostly washes and other sort of weathering sort of things. I'm not very into the weathering yet, but I do want to get in there, and it's mostly washes and sort of training, seeing how far I can push them. Yep. So I've been working with like the Tamiya black panel liner for outlining my moving surfaces.
Oh, yep.
I find it a bit hit and miss because it sort of stains the I don't have a lot of trouble getting sort of that sort of stain mark off it that it leaves.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
You're only putting it on over a gloss coat, aren't you?
Yeah.
I'm not. No, just because my paint's all lacquer, so it's impervious to practically everything. I don't have to worry about that sort of thing. Yeah, anyway, so it came up better on the Hasegawa Pete because it's got better shaped moving surfaces. They don't look like they're just panel lines. They actually look more shaped.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, the P38 definitely looks like panel lines, and you can't really see it that much. Broke a few parts off the P38 doing my washes.
Good effort.
They glued on just fine though.
Yep.
Yeah. I've got all of my canopy painted up and it's ready to go on. All I'm waiting on to finish off the P38 is I'm going to airbrush some exhaust stains down the booms.
All right. Yep.
Yeah. So and I got to get that right because it's the American style fuel that leaves that sort of almost grey coloured exhaust stain. Yeah. So that's going to be fun.
Yep.
There you go.
You'll be fine.
Troy, when was the last time you were in the studio? I'm just trying to think what episode it was.
It's a long while
I
ago.
can't remember the number, but I've done 2 builds since then. I think I've completed 2 builds since then.
Yeah.
So I think just starting on the Chinook.
You were just starting on the Chook?
Yep, and that's finished, the 135 Chinook. And I've done a AS1 Leopard as well since then.
That's right, yep. And that going really well.
Yeah, so I'm currently working on a 132 Mirage and a 1144 Saturn V.
Very good.
Australian Mirage?
Absolutely.
Not one of the Indian ones that have been in the media?
No, that was the
Pakistani.
the Mirage 2000. So for listeners out
I don't know the
there,
difference between them.
India just went and bombed some supposed terrorist camp over the border, which is well in the Pakistan airspace, and Pakistan and India are sort of rattling their sabres at the moment over it.
The big scary thing is they're both nuclear capable.
That's very true, isn't it?
And
So we'll see how that pans out.
Well, hopefully cooler heads will prevail, but...
Well, they've had a couple of wars without lobbing nukes at each other in the past.
Yeah, but it's not to say that one day someone's just not going to go, well, we'll just take it one step further.
Well, the thing is now you've got a cricketer who's sort of in charge of Pakistan now.
Yes.
So
Well,
Imran Khan.
it's funny because we got an Indian guy and a Pakistani guy at work sitting side by side. And
oh, seriously?
And we're joking today that they're going to start lobbing bombs over the petition wall between them, but they're good friends. And they're saying that their prime ministers are friends. They're in business together. But India's about to go to an election, so they want to, stir up a bit, but it won't go any further than that. So,
yeah.
Let's hope things go that way.
Yeah. What about you, Dave? What have you been working on?
Absolutely nothing.
You slacker.
I've been that busy
Oh, yeah, right.
with the normal home life and everything. I just haven't had time to scratch myself. So with the heat ramping up again tomorrow, I'm deployed off to another incident control centre tomorrow. I just sit there all day.
Yep, in case of fires.
Yep. So I'm just hoping it doesn't happen over the weekend because I've got my oldest son's birthday on Saturday night or Saturday afternoon. So I'm planning having a few sherbets. And,
why not?
And Sunday, I've got absolutely nothing on the books. So the idea is, providing I'm not hungover, is to actually get in that modelling room and just do some work.
inhale some paint fumes. And
Yeah.
Yes.
That's always good for a hangover.
Stick my fingers together, cut my
Yep.
fingers open, all that sort of good stuff.
The fun stuff.
All right, we've actually got some homework and some housekeeping to look after before we get on to what's new.
Homework?
Yeah.
No one told
No,
me.
not
No one
homework.
told me about a test.
Housekeeping. So, in the last episode, we were talking about ships, and when Ian and I were talking, because Ian and I tend to get a bit animated and sort of our mouths run very fast, we were talking
Who was?
about glues, and we kept saying Gorilla Grip. We didn't mean Gorilla Grip. We actually meant Gator Grip.
Gator Grip, yes.
Yeah.
Did I say Gorilla Grip?
We both did Gorilla
well,
Grip.
you did. There
I
you
went
go.
back and listened to it, and I thought, whoops.
Yep.
And I wondered why Michael sat there with a funny look in his face when we said Gorilla Grip. When we
Yeah,
were
because I
talking
remember,
about-
Gorilla Grip down here is in Australia was that rubber cement, wasn't it?
Yeah, the stuff that looked like green snot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Two-part.
it's- and I think in the US it's super glue or
Right.
something similar.
Yep.
So we actually meant an acrylic hobby glue called Gator's Grip, which we both swear by. It's great
Oh, it's
stuff.
brilliant stuff. I've got a heap of bottles of that
Yep.
at home.
Oh, is that a white glue?
Yeah, it's a white glue.
Oh, so speaking of which, I did use a white glue recently.
Oh!
Dun, dun, dun.
And
So as you know, I don't really use white glue, but in this particular case, I was forced to because I didn't have any of that special gold, Bob Smith Industries gold super glue.
is that the purple? It doesn't the purple?
Well, according to Michael, who we had on last episode, he said it's the gold,
Oh, the gold one.
the
yeah,
gold
okay.
one, yeah, that doesn't fog
Yep.
canopies.
Yep.
No, so what happened was there's a little, you know how like normally when you glue a canopy on, and there's an obvious sort of flattened area that is the meeting point, right?
Yep.
On the fuselage.
Yep.
That meeting point is actually wider than the canopy that it goes onto, so that it gives you a nice rim kind of thing that goes around the edge.
Okay.
So when if you were going to use regular cement, sort of like, to me, extra thin type stuff, to remove the paint before gluing that on, like I would normally do,
Yeah.
you wouldn't know how much to take off.
Gotcha.
And I don't want to have to repaint part of the model this late in the game. So I was like, damn it, I'm going to have to use this white glue. I don't have white glue at home. I just haven't used any of it for the last 4 or 5 years.
So what sort of white glue was it you actually used?
It was the Microsol Microset brand, whatever it is. I'm not sure what the brand is. It comes in those little tiny vertical, similar bottle to that actually for your Gator Grip or whatever it's
It's
called.
not the Red Roo stuff. Red Roo's got a similar bottle as well.
Oh, I don't know. All I know is it's got sort of like blueprinting on the front, and
So are you a convert now to white glue?
under certain circumstances.
Oh, there you go.
So for example, what I wouldn't use it for is if you've got a canopy that has the frame that goes all the way down to the bottom, like on the meeting surface, I wouldn't use it for that. But on the P38, it's like it's okay for like that on the rear canopy, where it's got the frame that comes all the way down the bottom where it meets the fuselage,
Yep.
and that obscures the actual gluing point.
Yep.
But if you've got one where the front canopy on my P38, where the glass area of the side windows is all of the plastic that you're given, you can actually see where the gluing point is. It's not obscured by a small bit of paint that comes up the edges of the canopy, and you can see the gluing area, and I don't like that. I would have preferred, now thinking about it, I would have preferred to not scrape off the paint and glue it down. I would have left the olive drab or green or whatever it is stay there, so that when I glued it down with white glue, it would look cleaner.
I think, and you had an old trick where you used to paint, so where the actual canopy meets
you paint black.
You paint it black. So I'm just trying to figure out how I can explain it to the listeners out there.
Well, basically, what it is, the edge of the canopy, where it hits the plastic,
Yep.
of the rest of the kit.
Oh, the meeting of the two
Yep.
parts, right?
Yep, on that part of the clear,
Yep.
is you very carefully paint bit of flat black.
Okay.
The idea being that
Well, basically, it just hides anything. It hides
yeah.
any imperfections.
Yeah, see, that's
a
what
lot
I
of
would've-
people use it when they've got damaged canopies, or they've got to glue two clear pieces together.
okay.
If you put a bit of black in there, for
Yeah.
some weird reason, trick of the light, it nearly obscures where the joint is.
Where was this tip when I had 3 broken canopies from a 132 Hornet?
Actually, I learnt it off one of our previous guests, Hamish.
Yeah.
That was one of his tricks.
Oh, there you go.
Mm.
Ah.
That I will actually use. I'll use that next time. It's not for every occasion, but it works on the right situation.
Correct.
That's very cool. I like that.
Cool. Next housekeeping item is Tony Jacob is one of our listeners, and he's recently reached out to me on Facebook, and he says that I've got a heap of paint that I'm never going to use and wanted to give it to a worthwhile group or person. I seem to remember you mentioning something about veterans modelling groups. I've got about 80 bottles of Model Master enamels, of which have only been opened to put a blob of paint on the lid, and about 50 or so bottles of Tamiya and Mr. Hobby acrylics, some of which are nearly full and some are nearly empty and various in between. Because his reason he's getting rid of it because he's changed his paint brands, and so he's looking for a good home, either to a individual who's in need or to a worthwhile group. Now, for the life of me, I can't remember the group in Australia that does modelling for veterans.
Yeah.
So if anybody out there knows somebody worthwhile that these paints can perhaps go to, or indeed knows the group in Australia for veterans, and because Tony's located in Australia up on the East Coast, it would be near impossible to sort of send these overseas. So anybody in Australia knows where these can be donated to, get in touch with us. Drop me an email at onthebench64@gmail.com, or just post something on our Facebook page. Right. Now, last episode we spoke on shipbuilding, and one of our listeners wrote in, and I apologise because I didn't take your name down, so I can't for the life of me remember who it was. And he said that we failed to have a talk about oil canning on ships. So I thought we'd just briefly sort of talk about oil canning. And what oil canning is, if you look at a ship's hull or even the superstructure, it's where the wave action and the pressure of the water sort of pushes in the metal skin against the ribs, and it sort of bows in. Really predominant on U-boats, for sure. Mm-hmm. And in more recent times, even modern destroyers and that, you see it on the superstructure a lot now, because they're only using a thin sort of metal.
Yep.
And you can see the ribbing and everything sort of rubbing in against it. Now, there's two ways that you can achieve this. I'm not aware of any model manufacturer that actually sells a kit with the oil canning already in it. But there's two ways of doing it. Number one, you can try and represent it by paint and getting different shading effects. And there's a Korean modeler who's really mastered the art on this, and I don't know his name.
Big Kim.
Yeah, probably would be Kim, yes.
First or last name doesn't matter, could be.
Well, Park is also a very popular.
Well, there you go. It's
first
Kim Park.
name and,
Kim Park.
and surname over there. Yeah.
So all I suggest you do is have a look and try and Google Korean shipbuilding model pictures and see what that brings up. The other way of doing it is you can actually go in there and very carefully with a Dremel or something, or even just a knife, and scrape out.
You'll need a D-blade knife.
Yeah. Thanks, Anne.
So that's a curved blade one,
Correct.
isn't it?
Yeah. So I'd recommend you sort of mark where your stringers and your ribs are with, say, a pencil or something, and then in between that just sort of slowly just scoop out to try and replicate the oil canning effect.
And depending what scale is how deep you're going to go.
Absolutely.
And don't want to overdo it.
I wouldn't even attempt it in 1/700 scale, because I don't think you're going to really see it. No. So certainly in 1/48 scale, if you're doing submarines in that scale, 1/72 scale submarines, 1/200 scale ships, and even down to 1/350, you can probably get away with doing a paint version rather than just actually trying to scrape the hull. So good luck with that. Also, he went on to mention that we didn't talk about another part about shipbuilding, and that's building out of paper/cardboard, which we completely sort of missed.
Well, we didn't actually even talk about wooden shipbuilding.
No, well, we didn't. Yeah, we purposely put that aside because that's a subject in its own sort of right.
Well, what we could possibly do is over Model Expo in a few months' time, there's always that crowd there that does the paper ships. We might just grab one of them guys and have a bit of a chat with them.
Absolutely. And I'd also recommend you head over to the Scale Model podcast and have a look at their episode 14. Stuart Clark interviews Joseph Lavender, who is a master modeller, and he actually has a main interest in building ships, And during the interview, Joseph actually talks about building cardboard ships.
Oh, yeah.
So it's quite interesting to listen to. So,
But wouldn't they get soggy and sink?
You don't play with them in your bathtub, Ian.
Oh,
The plastic ones you can, not your cardboard ones.
That's right. What's the fun in that?
I tell you what, if you ever bring up a photo of your finished shikaku in your bathtub in water, I'll be very surprised.
I can't because I've already drilled holes in the bottom of the hull. So it'll sink.
You're not very good at making ships, are you?
Just one news item I want to cover up before we go into What's New. So the first two F-18 Classic Hornets that have been bought from Australia by Canada have arrived in their new home at the Royal Canadian Air Force. Canada's buying about 25 RAAF Classic Hornets to convert to the CF-18. So I'd like to publicly take this time to thank Canada for helping fund our purchase of F-35s. No, sorry,
They're not
guys.
happy. Have you seen on the Canadian Air Force forums?
I know.
Well, aren't we flogging off our PC9s?
Well, they'll get sold off, but they're also going for public tender as well.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It'd be nice to buy a PC9
where are you going to put it, though?
at an airport in the hangar.
Or just buy a big pole and mount it in your front yard?
You could zip from Melbourne to Sydney in record time.
Yeah.
Is Moorabbin big enough?
Yeah, Moorabbin's big enough.
Yeah.
You could probably fly down there with no dramas. But,
Wow.
I just thought it was interesting that, Canada's now buying our F-18, so our classic Hornets. At least they're going to a good home. They're going to continue to see service life, so that's good.
Yeah, well, that's
Well,
right.
they're a bit worried because they've been tropical all their life and they're going to the snow, so they're worried about how they're going to handle with the new climate. But
Apparently,
cold.
Canadians are changing the bank seat. They're putting a different sort of ejector seat in it, and some Canadian sort of specific avionics and stuff like that. So it's not
Like moose detection.
moose avoidance radar.
Yeah.
It'll be caribou.
such stuff.
Yeah, caribou.
Yes. All right, that's enough of boot of that. So
Boot it.
let's go on and have a look now at what's new in the modelling world. And first of all, we'll kick off with Takem have announced that they're doing a Willys Jeep in 1/35th scale. Now, you've just bought a Jeep, haven't you?
I did, but what does that say? 1/6?
No, it's a
35th?
printing
That's a typo.
scale, so it's 1/35th scale.
Okay, yep.
So it's only the CAD drawings that are being released at the moment, but
It looks pretty detailed.
absolutely. So
Well-
it goes right down to the chssy and
Trailer
it'll
as
show
well.
the engine as well.
Drivetrain.
Whether you get a trailer with it or not is going to be interesting to see. But we're just having a look at the site, the Modelling News, and that's got information about it there and showing a whole heap of pictures as how the Jeep's been used post-war and for a whole range of different things. And you still see a lot of them around the world, on the roads now by the reenactor guys using these. I nearly bought one once. I think it was going for about $20,000, and I was sort of struggling to think,
They're uncomfortable.
yeah, but geez, it'd be pretty cool to be driving around in a Jeep.
Yeah, till you hit bumps.
I'm not well,
And the freeway would be so much fun in winter, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
but not only that. I mean, you can't have it as a. You'd have to register it in as a club car in Australia,
Correct.
so you can only use it for a certain amount of time on the
Yeah.
road. So it wouldn't be a day-to-day driving
No, you wouldn't.
vehicle.
No.
If you're going to do that, you might as well buy a mini moke. Jeep's the same thing.
The look of disgust on my face.
Well, one of the things I did notice is that it mentions that it was designed by the T-Rex studio. So if you don't know who they are,
No, I
they do
don't.
they do a lot of. They're a Chinese studio and they do a lot of design work for Takem and Meng.
Oh, okay,
So it's kind of like a badge of quality.
cool.
Right.
Yeah. So you can pretty much guarantee that this is going to have some.
kit.
It'll be a good kit. It'll be designed for by modelers for models kind of thing.
Yep. Well, I've got a few TACOM kits in my stash and they're magic. You're really... the ones I've got, I just can't fault them. They're just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Next amusing hobby is got 3 new types that have been announced. We're going to start off with the FV 217 Badger British Heavy Tank Destroyer. This is a fictional tank which has been made real in the video game World of Tanks, and it was based on a paper panzer, which was a project that the Brits looked
It's
at.
a bit like the old turtle, wasn't it? The turtle they had.
Tortoise.
Tortoise. Yes, the tortoise.
Well, it's also a British sort of what do you call it? Tank destroyer kind of setup.
Yeah.
But this says it uses the Centurion? Is it chassis?
Yeah. Looks like Centurion.
Conqueror. Sorry, Conqueror.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a Centurion chassis.
I don't
No.
know. They're all sound the same to me.
Although the tracks look very much like a Centurion, don't they?
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So it was one of these paper panzers that the Brits were looking at. It was also thoughts were put around making it a self-propelled medium anti-tank gun.
Why don't they bring out a Sentinel?
Well, that's true.
An Australian
Yeah.
Sentinel tank.
Well,
I think the only one you can get is some resin thing that'll probably cost you about $200-300.
if it's in the World of Tanks game, computer game, it probably will be brought out at some point.
Because those Sentinels, they were pretty... they had 3 engines?
Yeah.
3 Cadillacs?
Something like
Yeah,
that.
3 Cadillac engines
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah, because we didn't have heavy manufacturing to make anything bigger.
Exactly. Imagine trying to get those 3 tuned up at the same time.
Yeah, I mean,
Have you seen the video of him getting around Lebanon?
No.
That's pretty cool.
I'll have to check that out. It's on YouTube, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Something to look at.
it's a pretty old-fashioned tank.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah, but they're still pretty cool. They were a super heavy tank. For Australian standards,
it had
comparing
some-
what we
it
had.
had some pretty good innovations. Not, well, I wouldn't say innovations, but
Well, they would have had a rhubarb.
insightful features for the time that it was made.
Yeah.
But they don't necessarily make up for its
Like, seriously,
drawbacks.
it's an Australian tank. What other tank manufacturer is going to have a stubby holder inside?
And an esky.
Well, funnily
And an
enough,
esky.
funnily
And an
enough
ashtray.
it did have large water tanks for all the water required for all those water-cooled machine guns that it had in it. So I'm not sure if you would want to fill that with beer instead.
No.
Warm beer after you've fired a whole lot of rounds.
Ugh.
Amusing Hobby have also announced the Panther 2 W/Rheinmetall with Rheinmetall turret, I should say. So Panther 2 with Rheinmetall turret. Rheinmetall was the smaller turret that was designed to be used in the Panther. Did these guys actually get in production and see any production?
I don't know.
I was saying that they actually mounted them in the 20th of August 44, so whether it actually saw any service, I don't know, because I don't know
Wasn't
a lot
the
about...
Panther F had the small turret?
I don't know any Panthers that well, so...
Not at all.
It's one of those things where the Germans made so many variants, sub-variants and things that you really need to be a specialist on Panthers to really know the ins and outs of all
It's
this.
like the Messerschmitt 109.
Yep.
How many sub-variants do you want in one aircraft?
Yep. Also, they've announced a... Now, again, Rhein-Toscher,
Ryan Tochter.
thank you, R1 movable missile launcher on a Panther 2 chassis. So this never saw service. It was sort of on the planning stage, and this is the...
How loose is that track?
Yeah. This is a first or anti-aircraft missile, I guess, that the Germans are sort of starting to look at and use. And the missile was a multi-stage solid fuel rocket. It was developed as part of the Third Reich's rocketry program. And it was envisaged as a cheap anti-aircraft rocket to help supplement the Luftwaffe flak and aircraft interceptor units. So the interesting feature about the actual rocket itself, the fins are made of wood. And I don't know whether it was steerable or not.
Be a lot safer than trying to pilot a Backham Natter.
Well, that's true. Interesting. It looks like there's a couple of stages, like a 2-stage rocket. So after it launches, there's a second stage that sort of fires off. I guess it's just a proximity fuse at the front of it, and they're just sort of aimed at the bomber stream and hoped and...
I don't know. It kind of looks like the front, the very front fins can be moved.
No, yeah, it looks like stabilisers to me, so it'd be interesting to see. I really don't know a lot about it, so I'm sure it's going to appeal to those of you who enjoy building the paper pans and stuff. And this will certainly make a beautiful kit,
And
especially
even if you're not into paper panzers, if you just bought that missile by itself, and you
Yeah.
like 1950s science fiction, you can make a pretty cool little rocket ship out of it.
Well,
Absolutely.
if you go and get some of the Uchi's
Wood grain.
decals, you'd make yourself a lovely little kit out of this.
Yep, I've seen a few of those missiles made up using that wood grain. And they look
Oh, have you really?
nice, yeah.
Okay.
Because you actually buy that kit on just an 88 gun platform.
Right. Cool. So that should make a really interesting subject.
Mm.
Revell, let's see what Revell are announcing
Yes.
for February.
Revel Germany.
Yes.
Well, there is no
Revell USA.
anymore, no.
So Revell is just Revell now.
Yeah, but Revel Germany seems to be churning new stuff out, I
Yeah,
guess.
and some good stuff too.
In 1/35th scale, we have a Tiger 2 OS FB with a full interior. They're calling us a Platinum Edition. Number of parts is 800. Price is going to be about €70. And
That's a lot of sprues.
Full interior.
this is the Panther comes with a full interior, so you can actually
It's got
choose to
an engine and
display
gearbox.
display it sort of open with the what would you call it? It all open, so you can actually just have
Armour
them modeled
plating
as thank you, the armor plating off, so you can display it looking actually inside it as if it was not a cutaway, but sort of almost a see-through.
Yep.
And lots of photo etch. I won't use the word that I've been challenged about using. Lots of photo etch.
The A word.
That you.
The U word.
Oh,
word.
the U word. Sorry, yes.
Yeah. What's the A word?
I just couldn't spell.
Okay. At least you can admit it.
Next up is in 1/48 scale is a Junkers JU52/3.
Is a lovely kit, and it's I'd say be a re-release because they've had the Tunta U out for many years, and it's a lovely kit. I've seen a few built, and they're really nice.
Length is
or was it Monogram that bought it out? Now I'm trying to
Ooh,
remember.
don't ask me.
Now I can't remember. But if it was the Monogram, it would be the Monogram one.
but you can see whether they captured the corrugations
They do,
nicely
yeah.
in the side of the mould and on the fuselage and on
I
the wings.
reckon it'd be a bugger to deckle.
Absolutely.
Oh, here we
over
go with
those
a close-up view.
corrugations.
Yeah, you'd have to almost paint the stuff on rather than deckling, or use a lot of settling fluid to get it down.
To me, are extra thin.
It makes you wonder if they actually make the decals like a little longer in one direction so that it falls between the things and looks the right size.
They'd have to, because otherwise it'd be squat.
Yep.
And
I think
that'd be a
that.
pain to mask.
I think I have seen a few kits where they've done that with the corrugations, where they are longer on one side. So as you force it onto the corrugations, it shrinks it a bit.
Well,
and
you've got the wingnut wings
Yeah.
thing with
And
the corrugation.
I think they are slightly longer on one side, the decals.
Interesting.
For the crosses.
There's homework for you.
Yep.
There you go.
More homework.
Drag it out and have a look.
And from the pictures, looks like it will build up a nice little kit. So, yeah, should be very interesting. In 1/32 scale, there's going to be a Booker, a BU-131.
A Jungmann.
Jungmann, which is a training aircraft, I'm assuming. I don't know
yes,
much
it is.
about
Yes.
this.
German training aircraft from the Second World War. Very nice little aeroplane.
It looks very much like, the wings look very much like a tiger moth. And in fact, even the prop looks very tiger mothish.
So it says originally boxed by ICM.
Oh, really? It was too, yes. So isn't it interesting? There's a link between ICM and Revell Germany now.
Yeah, I noticed that when I bought my Revell 135th scale Anzac troops. They're exactly the same as the ICM ones. They even got ICM on the sprues.
Well, I haven't seen anything announced that ICM are either being bought by Revell Germany or in partnership with them. So,
But I think it's just that ICM make things that other companies aren't willing to make.
Correct.
and then on-sell them.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, interesting. Next is a Chevy Chevelle 1968.
Cool.
Scale is 1 to 125.
That's a nice box art.
1 to 25.
What did I say?
1 to 125.
That'll make it a very small car, Dave.
1.25.
Yeah. Not 1.125. Yeah, so we need more muscle car kits. See?
We need more Australian muscle car kits.
Oh, it'll never happen.
Just one would be nice, wouldn't it?
It'll never happen. It'll never happen.
I'm not familiar with the Chevy Chevelle, so I guess the motor car builders out there will know exactly what I'm talking about. And Ian's sort of salivating at the other side of the table there.
It's
So
68.
yeah, it comes with an engine, which
Oh,
so you can have it. What do you call it? Curbside or What's the terminology
Well,
called?
curbside's usually when they don't have a motor in them.
Okay, and
So it's a full kit.
full kit.
It looks nice detail too inside that engine bay.
Well, at that scale, 125. Gee, I can't get it out properly. I guess you could get a good detail, wouldn't you?
It's even got the your shift decal on your shifter.
Got the H pattern there
Yeah.
for the shifter.
No, it's a very classic Hurst
Yeah,
shifter, isn't it?
correct. But no, it's a nice kit.
Next up, there's a Kamov KA-58 stealth helicopter in 1/72nd scale.
Oh yeah, that's from that period in the late 80s and 90s when they thought they could make stealth copters.
Yeah.
Airwolf, man. Airwolf. What? It's real. Don't forget Blue Thunder as well. Come on, man.
I well remembered Blue Thunder. It was an awesome show. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know much about this kit at all. I don't know much about the Russian helicopters sort of, or companies sort of building a stealth version. I guess they looked at it at one point. The Russians have always sort of touched and had a look at different things. So obviously this is interesting because it has two main blades with no tail rotor and they operate in counter rotation, so to neutralise the torque.
Yeah,
And
Kenworth love that sort of thing. They do it on all their choppers.
Yeah.
yeah. And it just looks sort of very flattish and yeah.
It looks like it'd float.
At 1/72nd scale, it's going to be rather small kit. So helicopters, I think, need to be built in the larger scale
Yep.
because they sort of lose presence in 1/72nd scale.
Yeah, I got a 148 Kiowa, and it looks tiny.
Yeah.
Needs to be 135 at least.
Yep. British Phantom FGR Mark II in 1/42nd scale.
142nd.
It's a model kit of
Don't
the
you mean
Phantom.
don't you mean 148, Dave?
What did I say?
142nd.
Oh, no.
That list Dexy is really catching up with you.
You guys
isn't
read while I have another swig of my beer.
I
Hang
think
on.
you need to put the beer down.
it?
If you're dyslexic and you know it, happy clans.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Model kit of the Phantom FGR2. Great Britain received from September 1964 a specially modified Phantom version with Rolls-Royce Spey engines. This resulted in the improved Phantom FGR2 for the Royal Air Force, which was used as an interceptor on 15 squadrons between 1969 and 1992. Interestingly, when the Royal Navy cashiered their last of their big aircraft carriers, all those Royal Navy Phantom jets got transferred across to the RAF. So, well, this should make a nice.
Those really long front landing gear.
Let's see what comes with kits. The cockpit is fully cockpit with instrument panel, detailed ejection seats, detailed engine nozzles, separate air outlets, detailed undercarriage, separate air brake flaps, additional tanks, one gun container, 4 Sky Flash. You're going to love the way the Brits name their missiles. 4 Sky Flash.
I reckon they got Jerry Anderson to name
I think they did too. And it all comes with
Captain
decals.
Scarlet Ray gun.
And it comes with decals for 3 RAF versions. So that should make a nice kit for those of you who like your Phantoms in British colours.
Yep.
A BAE Hunter GR7.
Harrier,
Dave
Dave.
Scale.
Harrier.
Harrier, Dave.
Dave Scale.
Yes, Dave Scale.
It is Dave Skull.
Yeah.
A BAE Harrier GR7 in 1/144th scale. I've got the scale right.
About time.
And yeah, there's not much more I can say. Looking at the actual picture of the model, it looks quite nice, given the scale is at 1/144th.
The picture of the model looks weird. Is it just me? Does it look like the rudder's missing?
No, the rudder's there. They had the 2 different versions of the rudder. Now, the issue with this kit is that, and this is the argument I have with all the pictures that Revell do of their finished models, they're just slapped together with a coat of paint, and you can see there where the wing goes onto the fuselage. There's still quite a bit of work to do there, so they just slapped it together for a photo opportunity. That wing is sitting slightly raised and proud of the actual fuselage, and so
You
it needs
should
to be
you
sort
should
of
see
settled in a
their
bit.
1 to 48 scale Messerschmitt BF 110 G2
Yeah.
tropical.
Yep.
because the box is so thin,
Yeah.
to get the aircraft on a profile, the built model on a profile on the side of the box, they've collapsed the undercarriage.
Oh, no.
So the undercarriage has actually got this big lean, so they can actually have the picture a bit shorter.
Have you seen the 172 Academy Hercules? It's still got masks on some of the windows
Oh, seriously?
on the box art. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I happened to notice that the Junkers thing that we saw earlier,
Yep.
The ton to you,
that was actually really well done.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on. Wasn't Revel like sued at one point?
That's what I heard. They were taken to court by a modeler who, not a modeler, just a regular Joe who bought a kit, and it didn't come out as it did in the box.
As it did on the box, yeah.
Yep.
I read that as well.
Yep.
But see, if you're going to just take pictures of your models built, just build them out of the plain plastic and don't bother painting them. Because a modeler will still get a good idea of what he's up for and what he's going to purchase just by seeing that.
And I've not painted built a kit as it's seen on the box.
Yeah,
In a long, long
usually I
time.
use aftermarket decals on mine.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, in 1/72 scale, still in Ravel, they're doing a Kiffer C2. Kiffer.
I thought it was a kafir.
You say Kiffer, I say Kiffer.
I thought it was Kafir.
I can hear then.
It's lion in
Same to you,
Hebrew.
Julian.
So just dig out your Google translator and type in the word lion, and whatever comes out is the actual name of that. I love the look of this particular
Yeah, it's got
aircraft.
the big yellow triangles on it.
It's got that. It's got the little canards at the front there. So essentially, it was a Mirage 3 that was stripped right down, redesigned, and rebuilt by the Israeli air industries, and then on sold to South Africa, if memory serves
Yeah, I
me
think
right.
they bought some.
And also, what I love about the Israeli Air Force is got that really hot, sexy sort of desert camouflage, and I just love the way that
Three-tone.
looks. Yeah, it looks gorgeous.
Certainly beats the usual shades of grey.
Yeah. Still on Ravel, and they are doing an FA-18E Super Hornet in 1/32 scale. This is going to come out at about €80. And I'm sure that quite a few people are going to be interested in actually purchasing this because they love their bugs. And in 1/32 scale, you'll be able to pack a whole heap of features and detail into the kit. Looking at pictures of the kit from the underneath, if that's what the
No, will bay.
Wheelbase detail.
if that's what the detail is actually in the wheelbase, it's certainly going to build a lovely, interesting kit. Looking at the cockpit, I think the cockpit detail is a bit lacking, perhaps. So perhaps some aftermarket stuff will
Decals.
pick that up. And I think the cans on the back of the engines, something looks a bit off.
They look too clean. Not enough heat staining.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But
you know,
that's not the kit.
Oh,
That's
no,
the
that's not the
painting.
kit. That's the paint.
the decals that they're showing it in is a US Navy, and I don't know the name of the squadron, but it's got the bats on the side. So I don't know which VF squadron that is, unfortunately. But gee, it looks really hot. So you've got the stars down the spine of the aircraft, and both of the rear tails are black with this bat decal on the side of it. So it looks pretty darn cool. That's all there is from Ravel. So let's have a quick look now at some exciting news out from Takem.
Back from Take 'em again.
They have announced that they are going to be doing a M46 pattern in 1/35 scale.
It's like Korean War markings too.
And it's going to be several different markings in the one box, and this is due out in 2019.
Great. We want to do those Battle of the Bulge dioramas.
The M46 tanks that land in Korea belonged to the 6th Medium Tank Battalion and were known as the Ripper Patterns. And they had this interesting sort of paint scheme where it was done up as like a tiger at the front with its claws, and the turret was done up as the head almost, I guess you'd call it. And that's all we know really about the kit. All we know it can come with two different styles of mantlet. Going to be included with dust cover. Also, 2 types of track links are going to be included, plus a jig to help with the tracks. And clear parts in the periscope, etc., etc. And 9 different markings available to be built, with a few of those being the tiger faces.
I've never been that much of a fan of the tiger-faced ones. I think it's pretty hard to pull off on a model. with the bright yellow.
Oh, if you weather it right, it'll look nice. I've seen a couple built that are really nice. Not patents, but the Shermans. Come up.
Makes
really
you stand
nice.
out in your collection in your cabinet, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
From your normal sort of run-of-the-mill green and greys and camouflage
I remember
patterns.
years ago seeing a photo. I think it was of a panther or a tiger or something. And the Germans actually put shark's teeth on the muzzle brake.
Oh, you would have loved that.
Oh,
you
yeah,
love
I
your shark's
did.
teeth.
I love my shark's teeth. All it needed was skulls over it, and I would have been happy.
All right. Last but not least, Kitty Hawk have announced their third 135th scale Hawk series, and this is going to be the SH60F Ocean Hawk in 135th scale. So it's Sikorsky S70 Seahawk, also known as the SH60F. And for those of you who like listening about real aircraft, this is an interesting link. Go across to the Fighter Pilot podcast, and their latest episode they just put to air this week. They actually talked to a pilot who flies the Hawk series in the Navy, and they also go into details about the different styles and types of aircraft or model variants that it comes in. So, yeah, this is you know what, you could. I don't think you could make this into an Aussie one, could you? No, because we used the Romeo ones in our Navy, so maybe the older Army versions. No, that wouldn't work either.
But it's got a really cool tiger meat paint scheme as a decal option.
Yeah. The way you can really tell the ones that are used on out at sea is that rear wheel sits more towards the middle of the fuselage rather than down lower back at the end of the tail there. But you're right. The kit is showing potentially some really great tiger stripes decals, which would look really hot.
Wow, that is
That tail looks really cool, hey?
I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily call it. It's gaudy to me.
But again, it's sort of dressing up your kits and making something stand out in your collection.
So what I was referring to is there's a one particular photo in this set that actually shows the real aircraft with the tiger striping on the tail, and it's actually got two eyes painted over the horizontal stabilizer at the back.
Oh, that looks great.
I agree.
I agree.
It's like a fluorescent orange. It's really eye gouging.
Tiger orange.
Yeah. It's really there to stand out. It's not for camouflage. But
No.
Bengal tiger orange. How's that for a colour name?
Very
How's
much
that for
so.
colour name? Also, there's another variant or another decal version for a Wolfpack, which is what would you call that there, guys? The back of the tail area is sort of black with, and I can't quite see what that is. Does that look like a wolf, ghostly wolf sort of coming through? So, have you guys heard anything about how the other versions of the Skyhawks,
Black Hawks?
the Black Hawks came out?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
So I couldn't really tell you. I guess you have to go online and see it.
I've got one in the stash. I can have a look. But,
go online and have a look at some of the build reports and see how they build.
Yep.
So this looks like one of the more flashy sort of choppers you could probably build.
Correct, yeah.
there's a Seahawk build on large scale planes at the moment that's absolutely amazing. All the internal detail he's done it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's it for me for what's new. Have you guys got anything that you want to add?
No, actually, no. I can't think of anything new.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, how about we have a quick break and we'll come back and have a talk about going into space to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the man landing on the moon.
Well, can't we do that from in the studio, not in space?
Oh,
Julian, we have a problem.
We have a problem, dude.
back shortly. And we're back to have a chat about space models. We're not talking about science fiction in this particular episode, but we're talking about real space. And that's the whole reason we have Troy in the studio, because Troy's built a few models, haven't you?
I've built a couple. I've built two so far. So I don't know how qualified I am to be here, but I got about another 8 or 9 in the stash. So
Yep.
Yeah.
I've got to say, the ones you've got bought with you tonight, the two you built, they're very nice.
So the two you brought with you is the Lunar
the
Lander?
1-100, the 148 Lunar Lander and the 1-100 Tamiya Space Shuttle.
Cool. And you're about to start, you have started on your Saturn V, haven't
Saturn
you?
5, yep.
Which is built by...
Revell.
Cool. So, step us through what things we need to be looking for when we actually purchase a particular kit, where the pitfalls are, and the painting, and the whole gamut, Troy.
All right, well, every spacecraft is different.
Yes, it is.
Every single one. Like, so first up, pick exactly what shuttle or lander you're going to do, because they're all different. And even Columbia, for example, it went through a couple of different schemes. May not look like it at first, but during its lifetime. So, yeah, the one that I've done it's pretty much first couple of missions. But then, NASA changed their logos, and they changed their tile patterns. They went from tiles to blankets on some parts and stuff like that. And same with the Lunar Lander. It's got each mission had different payload packages, so different markings and... Yeah, but we're very lucky with real space models in that NASA take a ton of photos.
Yes.
High definition photos.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you can almost be swamped with too many references maybe.
The Lunar Lander striking me as a very interesting kit. So that's in... What scale was that in again?
148.
148.
And that makes quite a large kit. The thing that I'm intrigued about is on the Lunar Lander, when you see pictures of it, it's got, I guess it's mylar sort of sheeting around the bottom, or gold
foil.
Foil.
And I only learnt this week what the gold foil was for.
Oh, yeah?
It's good at blocking infrared.
Ah, okay.
So it stopped the spacecraft from overheating, obviously due to the reflection, but the infrared didn't get through as well. So, but yeah, I spent probably 3 to 4 times more in L-clad paint or lacquer paint on that than I did on the kit itself.
So how'd you actually replicate that gold foil and the silver foil on that particular kit?
L-clad, yep. Just
Right.
different shades. Like I had 3 or 4 different shades of gold, same with the silver, same with the black. Oh, the black was different Tamiya paints, but yeah, and just even to get more variation, I mixed a couple, which I hadn't thought of doing with L-clad before.
That's quite a heavy kit too. Is it got some metal parts in there?
No, all plastic.
Wow, that's really heavy.
And the ascent module actually detaches as well, but...
Yeah. So be careful, Dave.
Yeah, I'm being very careful. So does the model actually come with that sort of...
The foil pattern.
It comes with the foil pattern, and it comes pre-painted as well, but I didn't like the pre-paint,
Okay.
so I painted over it. So, well, it wasn't too bad, except you know how when you scrape it, you're cleaning up your seams and stuff, and you patch it. You got to repaint it anyway, and colour matching it's almost impossible.
You never get it the right colour.
So I just assembled it and then primed the whole thing, and then went painting from there, and just looking at other builds, and as I said, the detailed NASA photos. I was able to go, okay, here's this side, this side, this side, this side, and just sat there with a paintbrush and by hand did all the little rivets and lines, and so just a matter of finding what you need and getting the right patterns in the right areas.
Yep.
I'm surprised how heavy that model feels. As I said, I reckon you've got some weight in that, because that feels quite heavy for a plastic kit of that size.
Yeah, it's all hollow, so... Yeah.
Wow.
I guess it's like the bottom section and the top section are technically separate things, aren't they?
That's right, yep.
Yeah.
Well, they're two different craft, really, aren't they?
They are. Because the bottom descent stage stays on the moon.
Yep.
And, the ascent stage goes up and docks with orbiter, and...
Yep.
Then they ejected it back to crash it back into the moon, and to test the sensors they'd left there for... what's it called?
Seismic
sensors, yeah.
Is it true that when they did it that on one of the missions that the moon actually rang like a bell?
I read the same. So
which makes you think.
You reckon it's hollow?
It's hollow. The moon Nazis have...
the moon Nazis are there.
I thought this was going to be a non-sci-fi discussion.
Well, it's
debatable, Julian.
It's debatable.
Oh, well, science fiction is just science that
saw a movie.
hasn't been made yet, right?
Yes.
That's it.
So who's the kit actually made by for the lunar module?
That's a Dragon one,
Right.
and they've got it in different scales as well. 172, 148, and
Dave scale, maybe?
I don't know, maybe.
Nah, wouldn't be. It'd be too small. Surely.
I think if
144.
it is in Dave scale, it is complete with
The orbiter.
the orbiter,
Yep.
the command module. Because here on the Saturn V that I brought in, that's 144. So, and that's
Yeah.
in that section there. So
I guess we're really spoilt for choice with rockets nowadays, though, aren't we? Because there's a huge range that are available to us. We've got the Revell stuff.
Dragon.
Yes, Dragon.
AMT have done that release with 5 different rockets in the one.
Yep. Horizon models in recent times starting to build. They've done the Mercury Atlas. They've done the Redstone, and geez, I'm just trying to think of the other one they've done now. Might have to pop to their website and have a look. But they're all in 1/72 scale, so that gives us a. Let's go to Horizon. They do the Atlas, the Redstone, and the other Redstone as well.
Yeah, there's different
Okay,
payloads.
new one.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so there's heaps of variety, and you can actually buy the command modules as well separately, so you can
The
do-
Mercury,
Yeah, the Mercury.
command module.
So you can do
Or capsule, I should say.
capsules, so
Yep.
you can do different different versions of different rockets as well. So you can get a couple of different rockets out of the one kit. You can do ICBMs out of, I think it's
The Atlas one
The
was
Atlas.
an ICBM, and also I think the Redstone was used also as a, well, not necessarily intercontinental, but certainly a
Ballistic.
ballistic missile. Absolutely. So, building rockets would be very much like building submarines, I guess, to a certain degree, because you've got a round tube, so you've got to be really careful on your seams.
you got to be good at
And
seams, and,
you're
I'm
sanding.
horrible at seams. I hate seams. Oh man.
I think there's. I'm just trying to think of that tool, Ian. It's almost looks like a bow, and it's got a little. It's a
The flex
Flexi-
file.
flexi
whatever it's
file.
called.
the flexi file. Yeah, that'd be the tool of choice when you're actually doing your sanding, I'd suggest.
Yeah, I've got one.
A wood turning lathe.
What?
Mounted on a wood turning lathe.
No.
Get some sandpaper. That way you're guaranteed it's going to be round.
You'd take off all the detail by doing that. No, you couldn't do that.
You can do anything, Dave. You can do absolutely anything.
A lot of the interesting things too is the different satellites you can get now. And Troy, you also brought in there out of your stash a Hashigawa
148 Voyager.
which is interesting because one of the Voyagers just recently has left the solar system. I think it was just last year.
Yeah, just last year.
It gone beyond the influence of the sun, I guess, and that's what they deem as being the end of the solar system.
Yeah, it's really cool. You can actually track it, or not yourself track it, but there's a website you can go to, and you can see how far away it is. And when you do, sometimes you'll notice it's actually getting closer to Earth, but that's because
The elliptic.
the elliptic that it's on. But
Yep.
yeah, it's really cool to track, and you
Yeah.
can see where it was on a certain date. Like the day I was born, it was so far away, and
With the Voyager kit, how does it get mounted on a stick?
yeah, it comes with a stand because otherwise it's going to look pretty funny sitting on the.
Ah, yes, and it's the old stand they used to make with their Eggplane series for the space shuttle.
Oh, okay.
It's the exact same stand.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. So I remember I built one of those Eggplane space shuttles. And even
If
comes,
I-
is that a little alien it comes with?
It could be.
I think it comes with a little alien giving you the peace sign. No, I'm pretty sure it does. Have a look at that, Julian. You've got better eyes than me, but I'm pretty sure that's an alien giving you the peace sign.
Yeah, it is.
There you
It could,
go.
be, could be Spock because didn't he find Voyager or Voyager?
Yeah, V'ger.
Actually, he might only be holding up one finger.
Oh, okay. He's giving him the bird.
Take your space trash back, humans.
I'm looking at the model kit here of your Saturn V, and that seam work, you've got to be really because the fitting of the two halves to make the sort of cylinder, there's a lot of work involved in sort of setting that back without, and then not losing the detail on that. It's going to be rather challenging, isn't it?
Yeah, and I noticed that they bulge a bit where the ribs are as well.
I noticed that too.
Is that on just the model, or the actual rockets were like that as well?
I believe it's just on the model, but I could be wrong. But so
These Voyagers are nice. Get them having a look at the instructions. It's got a lot of pieces in it.
it's going to take a bit of work. That's why I decided to start on the Mirage as well, so I don't go totally bonkers doing seams.
It's 148 scale, which is my scale. I like it. I really like this kit. I might have to maybe invest in one.
Ooh,
That looks pretty cool.
it does look cool. It does look cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll look good on the, on
Also,
the shelf.
I like how it looks fragile.
Yeah.
It kind of lends itself to the way it's sort of burned into my mind of
Yeah.
having seen it on.
It looks like it's got these really thin little aerials,
Yeah,
antennas
yeah,
on
yeah.
it too, which look really cool.
So we're seeing a lot of stuff come out from Revell in regards to the space era from the late 60s, early 70s. Of course, as I mentioned before, it's the 50th anniversary of man landing on the moon. And I think NASA's actually announced that their plans to go back to the moon now.
Yes,
That's
I
right,
have.
yep.
Yep.
Not that it have anything to do with the fact that the Chinese have landed on the dark side
On
of the
dark
moon.
side. Probably building a base there already.
They found their hollow moon entrance.
Yes, that's right. They're in there.
But yeah, they're saying they're going to be back on the moon by 2030. And that's a 10-year sort of timeline, 11-year timeline.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how far that progresses.
Do you think that's the influence of Donald?
No, I don't know. I wouldn't want us to get in the politics of it, but it'd be interesting to see how much of that.
He has Donald Trump has I think it was a week ago he officially commissioned the Space Force thing. So maybe
That was a while ago, a couple of months ago now.
Well, he started talking about it, but apparently a week ago he officially commissioned it, like wrote it in, kind of thing.
Now, speaking of Space Force, I think there's a comedy series coming out called Space Force, which is going to be a parody of it all. So, which will be interesting to.
Well, that's not gonna age very well, I don't think, because Neil deGrasse Tyson has spoken about how the Space Force is basically going to take over all the GPS type stuff that the Air Force currently do.
Right.
Okay.
Because the Air Force already controls like lots of satellites and GPS and stuff, and it's not really their sort of forte when you think about it. It's much like, well, the way Neil deGrasse Tyson put it, it's kind of like how planes in the military were initially part of the Army before they became the Air Force.
Yeah, that's right. It used to be the USAAF, the
Sorry.
United
US
States Army Air Force.
Yep.
So it does sound ridiculous, but maybe in the future we'll be laughing at ourselves for having laughed.
Quite possibly.
Yep.
It'd be interesting to see how much NASA actually sort of farms out to the new rocket businesses that
The
are going
private
on.
space industry
Yeah,
that's
because they're going leaps and bounds. There's a company over in New Zealand that actually does printing, metal printing of their engine that they use.
Yep.
Hobbits in space.
No, not quite, but yeah. And then of course you've got the
That's
European.
not choice, bro. It's not choice at all.
Then you've got the European Space Agency, so with the Arianes and all that, and as I said, you've got the
Chinese.
the private players now.
And the Chinese,
I
the
think
Russians.
Japan, Japan also has a small space agency.
And don't we have the Australian Research Space Enterprise? Otherwise known as us?
No, it's not known as us. Australia recently announced that they're having a space agency, yes, but it's not called that.
It should.
Let's look at having a look at some of the models you can get from Revell. So they've got in 1/96 scale, which is a bit of an odd scale. They're Apollo 11, Columbia, and Eagle. In 1/8 scale, there's an Apollo 11 astronaut actually standing on the moon. In 1/48 scale, there's an Apollo 11 lunar module, the Eagle. And in 1/96 scale, they're doing the Apollo 11 Saturn V rocket. Gosh, how high would that stand? In
Pretty big.
1/96 scale.
Well, I heard 172 is about 6 foot, so
They make a big kit.
640 in 1/72
yeah,
scale.
it'd take up a whole IKEA cabinet.
Yep.
Take the
You
shelves
turn
out.
it into a lampshade.
The Apollo 11 module Eagle
Yep.
that's on there. I'd be really interested to see how that racks up against this one, because they're both in the same scale, right? 48 scale.
Yep.
It'd be interesting, because, I mean, how old is this kit just here? I mean, the Dragon one.
Oh, I'm not quite sure. There's
It could have been around quite a
Yeah.
while, right?
yeah, because I had to hunt around before I found it. So yeah, I don't think it like they are re-releasing a lot of their kits Dragons. So
Yeah.
Let's have a bit of a look and see what Dragon actually has in regards to space kits. So they've got the Space Shuttle with solid rocket booster. That was released back in February 2013.
What scale's that?
It doesn't actually say, Ian, so I can't really tell you. In 1/144th scale, they did a Space Shuttle Discovery with the Boeing 747 carrier. So that was to get the Space Shuttle from one side of the US back to the other. And I think I've actually seen that, and that's quite a large kit in 1/144th scale.
and apparently it's a great 747 kit too if you're looking for one.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, you've got to change the tail because it's got the special tail that they needed, twin tail, but
Oh, the V-tail.
yeah,
Yep.
oh, it's got that, twin.
Oh, the
tail.
twin boom, yep.
Back in December 2014, Dragon released the Space Shuttle with cargo bay and a satellite inside the cargo bay, so you can display it open. That was in 1/144th scale. In February 2012, they did a 1/72nd scale Gemini spacecraft with a space walker. They've done the 1/72nd scale Redstone rocket with the Mercury space capsule. They did a 1/44th scale space shuttle with the Boeing 747-100, which I assume was different from the Boeing 747 SCA. Don't you can see what those two kits are differences between them? I couldn't really tell you, to tell you
So
the
it
truth.
could be just an update to the engines or something.
Yeah,
Quite possibly.
different decal option.
Yes. They did a Gemini spacecraft series back in August 2011. And let me see, I think that's about it. Everything looks like they sort of did re-releases, reissues of the same sort of kits that they had.
Well, with the new coming of the space race, we might find more modules and things. Ooh, how cool would a space station look?
That ISS. Yeah.
Was there a kit of that, or was that the Mir?
There, apparently there's
Skylab. I think it might be Skylab, wasn't it?
you can get an early ISS, so without the most recent updates, but I think it was only available for sale from the Smithsonian.
Right.
And
Yeah, good old Skylab. Didn't we send NASA a littering?
Yes, we did. And I've actually
Yeah.
been to the place in Western Australia where Skylab was illegally dumped into Australia. And the local council over there actually sent a fine across the NASA. It was a bill for littering.
Yes.
And to this day, it still hasn't been paid.
no.
No, really, we're all in shock over that one.
Oh, jeez. Some of the rockets that I find really interesting to look at are the big sort of Russian stuff. And there's a site called Real Space Models. They do resin spacecraft models.
Yeah, and they're pretty much your only option for a lot of the stuff that's not done by Dragon or Revell. So
Because I'd love to get a Vostok. I think those Vostoks with the those big green ball modules just look really cool.
yeah.
So if you just go to Google and you type in realspacemodels.com, it actually brings you this website, and they've got some really cool stuff. They've got the Russian version of their space shuttle, which is mounted to, I wouldn't even know what the Russian rocket is.
No.
That's not a Vostok. Well, the Vostok rockets look really hot, don't
Yeah.
they? I wonder if we can just have a quick look and see we've got some kits and converse what they got on there.
Yep. So I think I like about the Vostok. They're the ones that have got all the multiple rocket packs, aren't they?
It just looks really, it looks really Russian, doesn't it? You know,
Yeah.
that sort of, I'm an engineer, type
Yeah.
sort of, you know,
Everything's
the
just
way they
Put together with inch bolts.
slab it, whack it together.
Form follows function.
Yes, that's the
Very
one.
good. This is a great website because it actually does an Atlas and an Atlas rocket kit. It does a Titan.
Yeah, with solid rocket boosters as well. And
I wonder how much work these need done. I mean, I don't know. I mean, resin isn't probably the best material for something that has to be perfectly straight and cylindrical.
It can be hit and miss if it's taken out of that mould too quickly.
Correct, yeah.
True. These are all in 1/144th scale. Doing a Delta 2, a Delta 3, a Delta 4 heavy, Delta 4 medium, I don't know what that one is.
You know, these
N1. Here we're getting down to the Russian stuff. Oh,
Yeah,
God, that looks good. So Sawyer's launch vehicle in 1/144th scale. The Sawyer's conversion kit that they do. They do the how do you pronounce that Russian?
You can't.
Voshhod conversion.
Vodka.
That's the only word you know in Russian. The Proton Ziara and the Proton Zvezda. That's the same name as the model company.
Zvezda.
Zvezda. I beg your pardon.
It's Russian for star, apparently.
Oh, is it?
Ah.
Okay.
Well, they even do a Chinese.
The CZ2F Chinese rockets. So that's all really cool.
Ooh, what scale are those engines?
You know, the thing.
1/72nd scale, the Saturn 5.
There's a button on the right that goes to the next page.
Also, there's even more.
There's even more.
Well,
We got-
It's beautiful.
Mercury Atlas in 1/72nd scale, Mercury Redstone 1/72nd scale. Now, the interesting thing about all this stuff, a lot of these kits don't come with the big gantry that you see up the side. I'm just wondering if you can actually purchase that. I recall, I think it's 1/144th scale.
Didn't Revell do it in 1/144?
I think they might have.
I know there's a
if
cardboard
it's not
one
in photo
available.
etch, I wouldn't necessarily want it. Because I reckon that's how you'd get it to look really cool.
Yeah, photo etch. Yeah, you'd have to.
Yeah.
And you're saying there's a cardboard one available
There's
to
a
do
cardboard
the
one
gantry?
to do the gantry on the Saturn V.
Oh, geez, that'd be huge.
Oh, if it's in cardboard, then that means you could use the printing of it kind of thing to make a
Template.
use it as a template to either make it out of probably photo etch, right? Print your own photo
Yeah.
etch. Yeah, that'd be so cool.
You'd do it out of just stock.
Yeah, just
Stock
styrene
styrene.
sheet,
Yeah.
Mhm.
You could use that as a blueprint for that.
silhouette cutter.
You know what
Yes.
I reckon would look really cool? You have like say one Russian rocket and one American rocket, and beside it you've got like a bottle of vodka and a bottle of
Jack Daniels.
That'd look really good on the model shelf, wouldn't it?
Actually, you just give me an idea.
Oh, he's got an
You have
idea.
given me an idea now for a model display. So get yourself a vodka bottle.
And paint it up as a rocket.
No.
Oh, you put it inside.
And you put the rocket inside. You put the
Ship in a
Vostok
bottle.
rocket inside the vodka one,
Duh.
and put the Saturn one inside the Jack Daniels.
You know what I saw today?
That'd look hot. That'd look really good.
Genie's bottle on I Dream of Genie was a Jim Beam bottle.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember
It was
reading
a special edition Jim Beam decanter.
that. Yes.
Seriously.
Yeah, painted up for the show, obviously, but yeah.
I used to love watching Barbara Eden bounce around. And
Well, you are only male and
when,
human.
Didn't we all?
I think we better not go
Didn't
there.
we all?
What
Go
else?
back to my youth.
So what else is on this website?
This is a great resource, actually, and it looks like they also do some the Soyuz spacecraft, the capsule version.
Which is still in use.
Absolutely, and which is very agricultural, you'd have to say, in looks.
Yeah.
If-
Made in the local tractor factory.
Well, that's the thing about the Russian stuff. It looks very agricultural, but it looks heavy duty, and it looks. I mean, it hasn't got the same finesse as, say, the European stuff or the American stuff. It just looks, big and
Brutal.
yeah, that's a good word for it. Brutal, absolutely. I like the way the Russians put things together.
The photos of the models on this website kind of remind me a lot of photos taken in the 70s of, like, say, Thunderbirds or something.
Oh, right. Yep.
They've got a Thunderbirds kind of feel to it. I don't know how old these models are. I mean, they could be from the 70s.
You can actually buy the Pioneer 10. It comes in 1/24th scale. And the Magellan comes in 1/24th scale. And the New Horizon in 1/24th scale, which are three sort of fairly famous satellites.
Sputnik. That's what you'll want. A 1/12th scale Sputnik.
Ping pong ball with some wires coming out of
Correct.
it. Painted silver.
That'd look quite nice, actually.
It would, yes.
Mariner 9 in 1/24 scale. And, of course, that's what I was trying to think of, the Baran. The Egina Baran, which was the big Russian...
Which are rotting away in that...
Look at that! I like how it's got CCCP written on the side of it. It's so Russian, so Cold War era.
It takes me back to the 80s.
Yeah, it's like watching like Moonraker or something.
Yeah. Put the wall back up. Bring us back to the good old days.
The good old. I'm not sure we can call them the good old days.
When we come to space shuttles, we're really spoilt for choice as what models to choose from. So you've got a couple in your stash, haven't you, Troy?
Yep.
And which one would you recommend that the modeler has a crack at if he was going to wanted to do a space shuttle?
Definitely the 1/100. I thoroughly enjoyed that kit. Basically fell together. It has a full interior if you want to do it, but so if you want to do it with the bay doors open, it's got a science lab and everything. There is a 172 which I'd love to do, but
that'd be big.
It's big and it's cost prohibitive. And
do you know how much that is? The 126 scale version?
I did. I don't.
Yeah. Okay.
You mentally shut it out of your mind.
Is there a lot of decals on this thing?
There were, but
on the shuttle.
Yeah, on the shuttle. Yeah.
I didn't like the ones that come in the kit. That was the only thing. They didn't match what I wanted to build, and what I ended up doing when I did that one was collecting as many sets of photos of decal sets online and picking and choosing what I wanted, then uploading them to Photoshop and matching them to my references better. And then I got the Warbirds decals tile set, which they do for all the different shuttles and different scales.
Is that what the tiles...
That's what the tiles are.
Then it looks really nice.
Yeah.
That's really convincing.
Do you think the raised tiles on the model kit are a bit out of scale, or do you think that they sort of match the real thing?
I think for the era they're probably in scale.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's not too many.
And the cockpit windows...
okay, they are clear, but they come in a blue plastic, which was pretty weird.
Right.
So it was a clear blue, so I just painted over them. And
yeah.
Yeah, that does look more convincing.
Yeah, it was going to be dark in there. I mean, there is windows in the back of the payload bay as well, so if you had that open, you could probably get more light in, but the detail wasn't really that crash shot inside the cockpit, so I just painted the cockpit windows.
So the heat tiles on this, that's all decal underneath?
Yep. Warbird decals. They come in about 20 different pieces, and you just slot them in and wherever. And
there was no difficulty sort of matching them up? And
no, I was really panicking because they weren't overly expensive, but at the same time they weren't cheap, and they were getting hard to find at a right price on eBay. And I thought if I stuff up one...
Yep, you're in all sorts of trouble. I'm in all sorts,
but no, they went on really well. They took a heap of decal setting solution and pinpricks to get any bubbles out because they're such big sheets. But yeah, no, they were great. And and the rest of them I just made up, printed at work on the printer. And
when you say the rest, we're looking at the actual model. So along the side of the fuselage, those ones?
The flags, I didn't like the ones that come in the kit. The USA markings.
Yep.
Yeah, the United States marking. So all that was I printed out. I think the NASA worm logo was kit decals. The crew entry door is different on every shuttle, and it wasn't the right one. The one that comes in the kit is for the prototype. So Enterprise.
Right, okay.
And I said, well, that's not Columbia, and I wanted to build Columbia. So I had to track down a side profile of that, and then trace that in Photoshop, and then move that to... used my stencil cutter and printed that out and sprayed it, and just
very convincing.
Took little sets from different other kits and modified them to match my references and
Well, it's certainly an interesting sort of genre to build, and for my money, I wouldn't mind having a crack. I mean, we had a rocket here from Horizon Models, which was won by one of our listeners over in the US, and he's actually received that now, so hopefully he's going to start building it soon so we can get pictures on Facebook of the build.
Yes.
Jeez. Piling the pressure, don't you?
Well, I put in some extra candy bars for him to sort of encourage him. So
no Tim Tams?
No. His girlfriend apparently had been, or his partner, she was out in Australia at one point, and she had a sort of longing for some violet crumbles. So
fair enough.
I put four violet crumbles in the box. And apparently, it brought tears to her eyes when she opened it. Oh, jeez.
With this Voyager kit, do you know if there's any like aftermarket sets, like for maybe photo etch for those long?
I haven't had a look, honestly.
I would go for that because in the kit they're molded solid rather than like hollow triangles all over the place. You know? So they're like sort of triangle shaped, like long. What do you call them? Like spar kind of looking things.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yep.
Yeah.
I'd imagine too that a lot of 3D printing stuff you'd be able to find.
Oh, Shapeways is full.
Yeah.
Of it.
Oh wow, that would be so cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, it comes back down to what we always say is, do your research and look at your picture references and
collect as many as you can.
And more importantly, look how thick your wallet is.
Yeah, that's it.
That's a good point too. Yeah.
Man, some of these antennas, you would want some really thin wire, wouldn't you?
Yep.
The kind that would, you blow on it and it just starts boinging,
But you can
bouncing all over the place.
You can get the brass rod in pretty thin.
Oh, really thin brass rod.
Yeah.
Mm.
I guess with some of the satellite stuff where you got the photovoltaic panels, that'd be a challenge to really replicate that sort of shimmer look that you get to it.
The bluey glassy reflective.
Yeah. So
that's one of the reasons. I mean, I've got another 1/100 shuttle in the stash, which I will do with the doors open. But that's one of the reasons why I kept the doors closed on that one, because they've got the solar panels on the inside as well as reflectors, and I just go, this one will be doors closed. And on the stand that I got, it's just a little tripod camera stand for mobile phones, and the stand I think really makes it look.
Yeah, it does. Makes it look.
I
Really
guess
good.
what you could do is buy a whole heap of old calculators that got that little
the
solar thing in it, and you could sort of just cut them out and use them.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
I mean, there's ways.
That'll give you a realistic sort of view.
Yeah, I mean, you could do it with laminated plastic as well. So paint it and then put, clear thin acetate or something over the top. That'll give you your blue reflection. And
What about blue tinted, like Alclad, and then you could clear coat heavily over the top of it?
Yep, definitely.
You'd have to just practice to see how to.
Yeah, you try
Yeah.
out different techniques.
Yeah,
and see what you
absolutely.
got. Yeah. The only other thing I did with the shuttle is, because there wasn't much super detailing I could do on it, but the engine bells just added some extra piping and added scoring, hashing to the tiles around the engine bells, and just little things that make it stand out, pop a little bit more.
What kind of is this? This is like some other tripod that you've used to mount it on.
Yeah, I found a couple of them on eBay for $5. They're just miniature camera stands.
Oh yeah.
And I just glued the nut that you'd usually stick onto your camera base inside the cargo bay of the shuttle, and then drilled a hole through the bottom, and just screwed the stand onto the top, onto that, and it comes apart quick. Whenever I want to transport it.
It's a very effective way of
It
actually
is very
displaying it.
effective,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
Totally agree.
the satellite ones will be the challenging ones to display, and how you're going to display them. But it looks really. Actually, you might grab a photo of that and put it up on Facebook, Julian.
Yep.
You can take a photo with your camera.
You mean the camera that I don't have with me?
No, just a camera on your phone.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Post
sure.
it straight up. Yeah,
Sure, why not?
that'll look all right. Just make sure that the empty beer bottles behind the kits are moved before you take the photo.
And they're there for scale.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Alrighty then. Okay. Anything else you want to sort of talk about in regards to your space models?
The only thing I found disappointing with the Ranger space is no one consistent scale. And I know how much of a stickler you are.
Yeah.
Like you'll find, and it's probably because spacecraft do come in different sizes, that to get a different decent perspective of the kit, it needs to come in. But the Horizon models, they all come in 172. So if you say, I'm going to do 172, then you've got to look for that. But again, if you go to the Saturn V, that's going to be 6 foot tall in 172. So
And your problem is?
where are you going to put it?
Well, it stands up nice and straight in the corner.
As I said before, turn into a lampshade.
So what about the Mars landers?
Yeah, I'd really like to get Curiosity, but Yeah, nothing available. You can buy them.
Not yet, anyway.
You can buy them in photo etch. You know, the photo etch fold up
Oh,
sets.
yeah.
But you know,
They look
just
a bit
going,
dicky.
come on, man, there's so much. Why aren't you doing this?
I'm
And-
sure a model kit came out of one of them.
No, I've looked. I
Okay,
haven't
well, I
seen
must
it.
be mistaken, and I must have been thinking of something else.
Yep.
And I'm waiting for Elon Musk to release a range of kits of his SpaceX. That'd be good too.
We know he can release a kit of. You get one of his Tesla cars and just stick a spaceman in it.
Starman, yeah.
Starman. Yeah, actually, that'd be interesting getting those rockets sort of.
Yeah, can't you also get Branson's?
Yeah, you can get Freedom. Is it Freedom
Oh,
One?
yeah, and they just
Yeah.
launched Freedom 2. Just
Yeah.
did her maiden flight
Yep.
either yesterday or the day before, I think. So that's pretty cool.
Mm.
The managing director of the company I work for, he had a ticket for that, but unfortunately he didn't make it to launch.
Oh, didn't he?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
It would have been a waste of money because I don't think the tickets would have been that cheap.
He had a lot of money. A lot.
See-
As long as the tickets are refundable.
See, I reckon like even like just like not for necessarily modelers kind of thing, but like a kind of model that normal people would buy of the SpaceX type stuff. I reckon that'd sell fairly well,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
there are model kits of drones, and I wonder who buys those,
Yeah, that's a point.
True.
like the Predator drones, those sort of drones, not
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I don't know. They get the sort of their interest and their target audience
yeah, I guess.
in their own right.
Mm.
But you're right. There's not enough. I think if any of the scales, 70-second scale seems to be the sort of go-to constant sort of scale. And I guess if you're trying to be constant scale, you'd sort of stick at that. But gee, some of those big Russian stuff and the Saturn V and that is.
Oh,
in
you're looking
70-second
at-
scale would be huge.
You really like to get that Baran thing, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. It'd be nice.
It does look really cool,
But
but it
it's-
doesn't help for the fact that like the promotional shot was of a really well made one.
Yeah, well.
When you
I
say
don't know.
Dave
I'm-
doesn't really make wellies.
No, I mean it's just it sells it to you, right?
Yeah.
I mean it does look very brutal, as I said. It's got that Russian sort of
No nonsense.
yeah, that sort of like let's over engineer something rather than sort of get by the easy way kind of thing.
But see, in 1/144 scale, you can get away with a bit more sort of, roughness around the model. You don't have to be as, fine and finicky as if you're working in, 1/350 scale or 1/700 scale or 1/72 scale.
Yeah.
There's a bit of give there
Yeah.
because it's going to be like a 1 foot, 2 foot model type thing,
Right. Yep.
Also, the thing about like the Baran ones is that if you were just to make the shuttle itself by itself, you could do it as it is like in that abandoned space center thing that's out in wherever that
Yeah, I don't do dioramas.
Vostok or wherever it is.
I don't do dioramas.
the
But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah,
That looks pretty good.
Yeah, because like people who do like the what do they call it, the urban archaeology kind of thing or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, didn't they recently? I saw online that they've photos now of that second of the large carrier aircraft. The Russians, was it the
Antonov?
Antonov.
Yeah.
Because there's a second one,
Yeah.
and those Antonovs were specifically designed for the Russian space shuttle.
Oh yeah, there's quite a few flying around. They built.
No, there's one flying.
No, there's more
There's
than
one flying, and the second one is still half built in the factory.
I've got a feeling Ian's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
What are those
it's-
other big Russian things that are getting around the sky?
Yeah, but
then?
not as big as that thing.
Oh, okay.
This is that really, 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 really big one. The one you see in that old movie 2012.
Yeah, that was
It's
what I got the
Russian.
other night.
It's big.
It's big.
It's Russian.
Da.
Duh.
Spasiba.
All right. I think we'll wrap that up there. We've got over time again, guys. Nearly up to an hour and a half for this episode, which is
I think an hour and a half is a good amount.
Good amount, yeah.
I think an hour's too short.
well.
2 hours is getting pretty
You're
long,
gonna-
but
Hour and a half's just perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, it's right for you guys. You have to sit here and edit it after you go. I'm
Yeah,
going to
well,
want to go do the editing. It
We
just
just,
takes
we
forever.
just drink your beer, talk, and go home.
All right. I think we'll wrap that up. So, look, Troy, thanks very much for popping in again.
Yeah, Troy. That was
Thanks
great.
for having me back.
I want to get you in again because I want to do a special on Aussie Armour, and you've built quite a few of them in recent times.
No worries.
So I'll definitely have you back in the near future. All right, parting words from Troy.
Keep on building.
Oh, I think he's taking Ian's thunder. Ian,
Oh, what are you gonna
parting
say,
words from
Oh,
you.
geez, I'm kind of.
Well, I'll come back to you in a second. Ian.
Yeah, I've got to think.
Julian.
Sorry, mate.
oh, I'm usually normally wait for the other people to do their thing.
Actually, I know.
Yep.
The moon is hollow.
The moon's hollow. Right.
Iron Skies 2 out in cinemas this year.
I don't really have anything to say. Sorry. I'm gonna disappoint you.
Well, you're not. In fact, you disappoint our listeners if you did have something to say. I think.
Oh, is that? Oh, okay.
Yep.
I have a meat popsicle.
Yes. No, we have our own Corbin Dallas here.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you in a fortnight.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that episode, and of course, we'll be back in a fortnight's time. In the meantime, if you want to get in touch with us, please feel free to drop us a line at onthebench64@gmail.com, or come along and join the gang on our Facebook page. Just pop in On The Bench to the search engine on Facebook and you'll find our page with no problems. And of course, if you're still looking for some more podcasting about scale modelling, pop across and have a look at our friends in Canada on the Scale Model Podcast. Once again, just pop the words Scale Model Podcast into your favourite podcast app and it'll take you straight there to Stuart's great little show. So until next fortnight, thanks very much for being with us.
That's handy.
We've got Uncle Les designing in.
Test one, test one.
Test
My
two,
mind's
test
working.
three.
Going to print out some.
Let me just turn that off for a second. All right, that works all right. Troy, you just want to check your... give me a sound check.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2 3 4 7.
Think that's working.
2.
Works good.
2 for 22 after 2.
So your place is all hot?
Oh, it's a freaking oven, mate.
Is it really?
Yep. It's that hot. I walked inside and I could swear I saw a freaking heat mirage. It was like everything's just shimmering inside.
Did you see a camel?
Oh, mate, you sit on the couch and it's like the couch has got an electric blanket sewn into it.
Oh, it's going to be hot over the next couple of days too.
It'd be a stinker.
Now, if that falls over, Troy, if that rocket falls off and breaks, that's on you.
It looks like it's made out of like PVC piping or something.
I don't have insurance for model kit damage in the studio. That's fell over.
You freaking, you mozzed him. You mozzed
His
him.
Saturn 5 just went crash.
Do you play Jenga with this thing or?
That's why I'm going to glue it all together eventually.
Good move.
Hi.
Did it go down the back of the... Did you get all the pieces?
No, I got all the pieces. All good, man.
Oh, okay.